Welcome back to This Film Not Rated, a branch of the Music City Drive-In Podcast Network, where we try not to rate movies. The world seems to think there is an objective truth to a movie, so we're on a quest through a gauntlet to find it week after week. Join us. We try to make it through 15 questions without giving a subjective opinion. If you make it, you will get a special prop from the movie you chose for the gauntlet, within reason, and you will get a framed certificate with our signatures certifying that you have in fact done the near impossible and said something objectively true about a movie, like given a full review objectively truthfully about a movie.
Mm-hmm.
So, if we can't make it, which, we haven't yet, we drop the questions and we talk a little more freely about our feelings for new releases or for favored classics or whatever we're talking about. This one obviously being a favored classic.
Are you sure it's that obvious? I'm not in the gauntlet yet, so I can't be buzzed just yet.
Let's celebrate something we all love. Today, Curtis is in the gauntlet. Are you ready?
Yeah, maybe. We'll see.
What are we talking about this week?
This week, we are talking about Halloween Kills, the much-anticipated sequel to Halloween 2018. It takes place directly after the events of the first Halloween 2018. That just sounds weird. It just continues on with the night of Rampage that Michael Myers is going on. Which
sounds like you're describing Halloween too. So
I know.
Michael Myers is still alive, is basically the way we put it. And I think you have to summarize it in certain ways. You have to summarize it by saying, it's been 40 years that he's been ravaging this town, but evil dies. I'm not going to finish it.
No.
So, well, Curtis, all subjective. Is Halloween Kills good or bad?
As I stated before, Halloween Kills was a very anticipated film coming out to follow Halloween 2018. People had a lot of high expectations for it. And based on critic reviews and audience reviews, it didn't quite meet those expectations that audiences had for it.
Give me at least two objectively stated expectations. 60 seconds.
They wanted Michael Myers to stay a aimless killing machine, which I think they mostly got.
Okay, aimless killing machine,
and they wanted it. See, I know that I wanted it to like maintain that level groundedness.
All right, so I gotta buzz you.
It's fine.
You gotta.
This is
explain...
this is such a hard one to say. Is it a good or bad one? Because a vast majority of people out there utterly hate this film.
And the opposite. There's high highs and low lows.
Exactly. That's the weird part of it. Is that the things that I love about it, I absolutely love about it.
Yeah, there is a massive amount of distaste for this. And I actually want to go ahead and get this in right off the bat.
Go ahead.
David Gordon Green is a little bit out of touch. And that is how I would have gotten buzzed out of the gauntlet. I would not have made it any further than you. Okay. I don't have an answer. I was trying to think of how would I objectively say whether it's good or bad. Most people generally agree that the execution of what the movie's trying to do could have been better.
Yes.
But there will people who will fight for that thematic idea being played this way. And for Michael Myers... And the things that worked, like the 1978 stuff and the new mythology they give to Michael Myers, which I want to kind of build up to. In a new issue of SFX magazine, David Gordon Green was interviewed about the expectations for the new movie after the negative reception of Halloween Kills.
Mm-hmm.
His response pisses me off. I haven't been this angry at David Gordon Green since he came out and said Michael Myers is not supernatural in this.
Are you on a level of pissed off that you were with the director of Jurassic World Dominion?
Hey, we're not going to mention that movie on here. No, actually, Colin Trevorrow, I really like Colin Trevorrow. I don't hate Andrew Garfield for bold-faced lying for so long, or Ewan McGregor for bold-faced lying. But this here, David Gordon Green says, to me, psychologically, the whole point of that movie, Halloween Kills, is kind of unraveling things and not resolving things. There's a lot of people that when they see an ending like that, or that kind of unresolved chaos, they get frustrated as a moviegoer. For me, that's just part of the fun. Then we get to come in and tidy it up with the last one. So any frustration that was expressed about the last one, I just kind of smile and say, hold tight, here we come.
God.
Hang on. He also said, it's funny because it's so subjective what people want to see with these movies. Some people want to literally watch the original film. You're not going to remake that. You have to do something different. Sure. Some people say they want X, and when you literally sit down with your co-writers and are thinking about what that would be like, well, it's not really a movie. Or that's not enough to sustain my interest. So what is the story we want to tell? What's the atmosphere and the vibe we want to experience that makes each of our three contributions to the franchise very different? Well, David, they're not different. Spoilers. Not really. Possible spoilers for Halloween Ends. The people who are in the community, a really awesome group of people that I'd like to thank that includes Drum Dums, Jimmy Champagne, Cosplay Chris, a different community of YouTubers who are on the horror end of things. Most people know by now that a new character in this movie is introduced who's a babysitter accused of killing the child they were babysitting, and then a copycat Michael Myers comes into play. In the first of this trilogy, Halloween 2018, we have someone trying to put Michael Myers' mask on, be influenced by Michael Myers, and take on that mantle of evil. In the second, this Halloween Kills of the trilogy, we have the influence of Michael Myers' evil on other people and how that grows into people. And now in the third, we have the influence of Michael Myers as someone tries to put on the mask of Michael Myers. It's the same thing over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And I wish I could say, I don't know though, I haven't seen the film, but the trailers have already shown so many beats of the movie that all it took for me was to learn the name of that character and realize, oh, that's the guy who's in the sewers. Oh, that's the guy who's standing up to so-and-so. Oh, everything clicks into place. And I actually am excited, I'm not going to lie, for Halloween Ends.
Okay.
But I'm excited for Halloween Ends the same way I'm excited to watch the Thorn trilogy. and there's no shame in that, I think.
Yeah.
Part 5 of that is a terrible movie that's completely out of touch with what people want from the franchise. But there's still some really cool things in it. And this is the good things in this are a different kind of good. This had potential, and I think that's why it's rubbing people the wrong way. But I want to hear your thoughts on that statement, though. I want to hear your thoughts on the belief that when David Gordon Green hears that people are critical of Halloween Kills, he takes that as, oh, they didn't like the ending because the ending didn't give them a tidy closure.
Yeah, people didn't like the ending because a lot of reasons. It's not just because it didn't give you a tidy closure. Like
I don't remember anyone complaining about the ending at all.
I didn't like the ending at all. I thought I complained about that, but whatever.
Okay, I disliked the part right before the ending.
I liked the extended cut ending far better.
With the call on the phone?
With the call on the phone where Michael Myers still gets to be Michael Myers and he's like being sadistic and just like playfully evil with the Laurie Strode by just breathing into her daughter's cell phone when she tries to call her to see if she's okay. And once Laurie finds out what's going on, she just says, "I'm coming for you," and leaves with the bloody knife.
Yeah, and now
that's great.
That's great, and now we know she's never going to find him, and it's going to take 4 years.
Yeah.
Michael Myers, like, she stood in Judith Myers' home. They trailed that through the movie. Okay? They trailed that that's where he was headed. They trailed that maybe they were wrong about what he wants. Maybe he wasn't, maybe he was looking in this window out at Haddonfield. Maybe there's something in him that is the boogeyman alive. And the idea that he finally made his way to the spot he wanted to be and there was just one more person in the way. It's so cold that I really like that part.
Yeah.
The problem is, the reason you get that part is because you watch all of Halloween 2018 where Judy Greer is raised through all of this with her mother, and they do so much character work so that she pulls off the way that she can draw Michael in as a victim and turn things on him and pull off that twist, and she shoots Michael Myers, and she's protective of her daughter, and she's sympathetic and leading everyone through this whole movie, trying to keep herself grounded and focused on practical safety. And then she walks up into a crowded street where everyone is beating Michael Myers into the ground, tells everyone to stop, and does this like supposed final blow.
Where she's not stabbing him in the goddamn head.
Or in any way that kills him, period. David Gordon Green was like, oh, he's not supernatural. That wasn't a fatal blow. Right, so Judith Myers is like, everybody stop. Well, I'll just stab him over here. Whoops! And then you kill her. I don't think he understands at all the repetitive, unsubtle, in-your-face, almost knuckle-dragging nature of the smack-in-your-face, over-the-top themes of this movie that make the whole thing feel like you want to watch a Michael Myers movie and instead you're dragged through a community hysteria movie on par with, like, I don't know, whatever else. Like, it's like you want to watch Michael Myers? You don't get to. Wait for it. Wait for it. Why are you mad? Because the ending frustrated you? Just wait. We're coming back.
But yeah, now, as far as his comments on the ending goes, imagine for a second if in Empire Strikes Back, it ends with Luke still dangling on the bottom of Cloud City. Leia is running away. They don't go back to save Luke, and Han is still with the Boba Fett, and it just ends right there. Nothing is like tied together. That also would have been a terrible ending.
Would it?
I wouldn't have liked it.
What if it ended with Luke jumping from the tower?
Jumping from jumping from where Vader cut his hand off?
Yep.
Don't know.
Maybe you'd be frustrated, but that's literally that's the equivalent of what you get.
Yeah. But like my point is, even with Empire being an in-between movie, it still ties up a lot of plot points specific to that film.
Yeah, but who cares? And there's nothing left untied about this. It's a lie from David Gordon Green to even claim there's anything not tied up about this.
Right. Okay.
That is not the frustrating part of the movie. The frustrating parts are you turn Michael Myers back into something akin to Rob Zombie's Michael Myers with the level of bulk and the level of extreme crushing violence and lack of stopping people. You made every single character beat of your movie that's a death be the exact same thing. Beat 1, character grabs weapon. Beat 2, character sees Michael Myers. Beat 3, character shakes and can't get a steady hand while Michael Myers gets close enough. Beat 4, the character weakly tries to follow through and either drops the weapon or fires and it misses, or Michael Myers grabs the hand. And beat 5, Michael kills the person in some creative way they came up with.
Sometimes.
For a movie that, yes, had a lot of anticipation, especially because of the delays that came from COVID, which would have given them time in post-production, which would have given them a lot of resources. I know that it's also extremely limiting and you can't do a lot with people together. I get that. Yeah. But the movie as is has ups and downs. But for this director to just come in and be like, yeah, I get it. People were upset because of something I made up. It's like, dude, just be like, we'll see what happens. I made the movie I want to make. We'll see what happens.
I agree with that, and but some of the writing just doesn't quite live up. Like I got even with the second viewing, I got really annoyed with the line "Evil dies tonight." I got annoyed with it the first time in the theaters, and it's
been 40 years.
It didn't get worse, but it didn't get better. It's just a constant annoyance.
If the crowd storming the hospital and chasing the other person from the asylum to the roof had just been the start of the movie,
yeah,
I would feel totally different about it. That is such a good idea for a short film that has nothing to do with Michael Myers.
Yeah.
But just getting that actor to come back, and I think Red Letter Media said this best, it made so much sense for that character to have moved away in Halloween 4. Why in the hell would you still live in the same town your daughter died in?
Right.
Like, if there's a sense of community or something, like Tommy Doyle and them still live there, that's one thing. But, like, that was just a kid your daughter babysat once. You don't have these ties to these people. And for him to be the one, like, they got him back just so he could be there. Now, I love that the actor's working. Fine. But you couldn't write anything better for him to say than to make sure you beat over the audience's head. Now he's making us the monsters.
The worst part about that is it didn't need to be said. It was all visual. It was fine. You didn't need someone to vocalize the point. By vocalizing it, you kind of undercut it.
And I actually, when it revealed that was not Michael Myers, I had completely forgotten about the other escaped patients from the bus. I thought that was a little bit genius.
Yeah.
That it caused a little hysteria, and that's the reason why Michael Myers might still be free to do what he wants. It's because people are going to be distracted here and there. I thought that I was really on board, and I really thought they were going in a smart direction.
Yeah.
You know, if it was Tommy and a few crew of people who are loyal to him, and Lonnie and that kind of group, and you had like 10 people, and you had him chase him into the hospital, and the security guards in the hospital are trying to stop him, and the mayor's trying to stop him. But they're like, in Tommy and the mayor are like pushing up against each other. And you even have Tommy threatening the mayor. And it's like, you don't realize what he's turning you into at the same time that this is happening. Like, there are just so many things you could do with this premise. And your answer was just make everyone chant, "Evil dies tonight," so we know that's why they're angry. And then when the dude dies, just have the dude say, "Oh, it's Michael turning us into monsters." Got it.
Again, the things I do like about this movie, I still like I still like Judy Greer in this film, like the way that she's building up the hysteria that there's an actual connection between Michael and her mom, because based on what she knows from the past film, Michael sought out her mom, so now she's paranoid about that. The daughter, who's the most level-headed out of everyone, is trying to explain everything to her mom, but her mom's so stuck in her way of thinking at this point that she's not listening. So the mother-daughter dynamic, for as little as it is on screen, works really, really well. And I like the daughter's steadfast attitude, in which once she's made her mind kind of like her mom, she's not going to be steered away from it, and she does what she wants to do, which is go after Michael Myers with Lonnie and his son. And then
I
just
loved
again,
Lonnie, that actor who's a Mike Flanagan veteran. You just watched the first episode of Midnight Mass. He was the guy in the drunk tank.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
He was also the caretaker of Hill House.
Oh.
That actor is so good at pouring emotion into a character that's supposed to be a fill-in for a character from the original. Of course, the actress who actually played the little girl being babysat in the original, she reprised her role in this. And then you had the actor who came in to play Tommy Doyle, older. Which, I wish they weren't making him some sort of meathead anger monster, but he did a good job. I think the performances across the board were kind of fantastic.
Oh yeah, I really like Michael Myers, and this one, for a vast majority of the film, he's still menacing. He still has that like ruthless, I'm gonna kill anyone in my way without any regard for it. He still has that creative streak when he kills the people in the car in the park, and then later on sets them up with the jack-o'-lantern and the skeleton spinning around on the swing and him hanging the witch.
Yep. It's like, you know those kids, they popped up in 2018. You know those are the masks from Halloween 3.
Mm-hmm.
So when you see the bodies hanging and there's just 2 of them, that little bit of tension over where is the witch going to show up?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and then it's absolutely dreadful that it popped up. And it just... The good things about this movie were so good.
Yeah.
For 40 years, we've watched Michael Myers slaughtering people, right? But more often than we see him actually kill people, we've just found the work he's done, the bodies he's done, like, which is grody to say out loud. It's just not okay. But
right,
to get a peek behind that curtain, the way that he's testing knives, that one shot will forever haunt me as the sort of creepy truth of what Michael Myers is doing when there's no eyes on him.
Yeah.
He's moving like an animatronic, and he's like experimenting like it's art to him.
Yeah.
You know, that scene has its ups and downs, and there are issues with it, but overall, that plus the mythology that's laid in through the extremely effective work they did replicating the 1970s footage, especially that's not digital at all. They use just prosthetics to replicate Loomis.
Yeah. If I didn't know any better, I would think that was Donald Pleasance again. Like, even his voice is pretty on point. So
they were extremely thoughtful in getting this idea across that actor who has to carry this thread from when he was young to when he's older, which I don't know. I don't think David Gordon Green understands death. I don't want to get negative again, but that dude had his throat slit and was run over by a car.
Yeah.
I was like, it's like, okay. So he should definitely be the one to face off against Michael Myers, because the both of them are the most durable people on the face of the planet.
Oh, yeah.
But that's the thing. Halloween 2018 and Halloween 2, you see from Michael's point of view, just like when he was a child, you see him with the machinations going into effect of how he's going to kill someone, and you see him kill people. In the Rob Zombie Halloween movies, you see him kill people. Now, pretty much every other time Michael Myers has ever killed a person, you've seen the way he starts to kill someone, and then you see the reveal of how the body is posed.
Yeah.
You never actually see the violence.
Yeah. Like, the closest you got in the first Halloween was when he pinned the infamous scene where he pins the boyfriend to the wall with a knife. He just tilts his head, kind of like he's thinking of what to do with the body now that it's there.
Yeah, well, the first Halloween movie, he does strangle Annie. Is that her name?
The one, yeah.
He strangles her in her car, and that is one of the most haunting things, okay?
Yeah.
Then, he lifts up the boyfriend and he pins him to the wall. And so you see those two.
Yeah.
But there's also like something with a dog off screen. There's the off screen death of the guy that he gets his coveralls from. There's, and then the third girl where the Judith Myers, statue is put up in her place. You don't see what happens to her until Laurie finds her.
Yeah.
So much of Michael Myers is scaring you with the idea of what he did.
Yeah.
And this movie, you get that on the playground, and it's very effective. You get that with Lonnie when they find him in the attic.
Yes.
And that's pretty effective. But for the most part, they take that head stomp from 2018. Most of the deaths in the movie feel like that. Like people are just made of jelly to Michael Myers. Yeah.
Especially at the end.
And, I'm a fan of the whole slasher thing, okay? There's a thing where you want to genuinely be scared, and like I said last time, there's an appreciation when they sort of acknowledge the real world consequences of that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay? Like literally the first movie, they're having to write in, oh, what's the big deal? He killed 3 people 40 years ago. And they're trying to play up, hey, don't diminish the effectiveness of these horrible things. You might be desensitized to all these things, but this has some real consequence.
Mm-hmm.
And then in this movie, Michael Myers is like, da 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 da, and like killing everybody. Yeah, so I mean, the reason to watch this is because Halloween Ends is coming, and like I said, I'm starting to see a thread that there's a point here about humans' relationship with something evil like Michael Myers and the shadow self and all of that. It's just, this is so clearly confused about what it wanted to be.
Yeah, I think confused is a good word for it.
I think the thing to learn from this is that David Gordon Green is focused on saying something he wants to say about Michael Myers and then ending that. So if you're going into Halloween Ends and you've been listening to us, go into that movie ready for this story where Judith died to be over, because it's going to have been 4 years. And even though they claim that Michael should be in a state where he's, you know, just wants to go home and then wants to go out on Halloween and be the boogeyman and then go home.
Yeah.
So this movie is just trying to say something about what it means for a person to be evil. And just let it be its own thing.
Yeah, that's actually a good way to think about it. This like how Infinity Wars is Thanos' is movie. Halloween Kills is very much is very much Michael's movie. He's the one that you're following through most of it. As you said before, it's the first time you get a sneak peek behind his experimentations when eyes aren't on him. I just don't think weird.
People should think that this new one is Endgame.
Yeah,
because it's not. It's more like Iron Man 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just feel like, just even at its nature, there are people out there who can both enjoy a Michael Myers movie and enjoy an unsubtle, but I mean, who likes schlocky slashers that are subtle, you know?
Yeah.
About, you know, the way it affects the community. Yeah. So even though those two movies are sort of at odds with one another, the one of them is not very suspenseful and in your face, and the other one is. Yeah. There are people who can enjoy both types of movie and enjoy that they're coexisting. It's different from other movies.
Right. And I can at the very least say that after having seen it finally on 4K, I am happy that I have the film, because I can still see myself going back to watch it, even if and as just a standalone thing where I could see Michael Myers kill a bunch of people. Yep. Or as a sequel to a movie that I really like.
Yep. I mean, there's parts I'm always just going to skip. I mean, I'm not usually one to do that, like, ever. And maybe I won't, but, like, you know, like watching Halloween 6 is sometimes a chore, but not really. You can have that on and it's not going to offend you.
There are parts of Halloween Kills that offends me.
Yeah. Having to sit with the gradually building suspense that the guy from the hospital is going to jump, that doesn't entertain me in the slightest.
No. And it's creepy, but not in an entertaining way.
And again, if the movie's point was to not entertain, in the same movie you have him slaughtering firemen and women. You have him doing all of these things that make it seem like the purpose is entertainment. Yeah. So, whatever. I'm so excited to see how this ends up feeling in a trilogy. So, especially when they're not forced to make this trilogy like The Rise of Skywalker.
Right. I do already have my tickets to go see Halloween Ends, so I'm going to see it. I will have watched all 3 of these films in theaters, which I think is a good thing.
And remember, we are This Film Not Rated, a branch of the Music City Drive-In Podcast Network. So head on over to the Music City Drive-In and you can check out, you know, the Devi Delight and the Now Showing podcast and just a couple of different people with a couple of different awesome, talented perspectives on things.
Oh, I am Curtis. You can find me at 90sgamer407 on Twitter and on Twitch at Merrick_Tainments.
I'm Eric. You can follow me at High Contrast FLM, and you can follow us at TFNRCMEL on Twitter. Evil's been dead. I'm not even gonna...